Driving the Singapore product to yet a new high is the Bronco by ST Kinetics. This made-in-Singapore all-terrain vehicle will find its way to war-torn Afghanistan, not by the Singapore Armed Forces but by the British Army. The British Army is buying some 100 over Bronco armoured carriers for a cool $330 million. The breakthrough deal is significant because it is a deal with a mature first world military like the British. A sign that we have reached first-tier international capability in the development and production of high-performance weapon systems. What's more is we had stiff competition from the British weapons giant BAE Systems. So why the Bronco? Well, the armoured carrier has been in service with the Singapore Armed Forces for about 7 to 8 years. Tried, tested and proven product, but also ready and reliable. What's more, ST Kinetics said they were very responsive in dealing with all the questions that the British Army had about whether the Bronco can meet their battlefield needs.
The protection they sought, right, is something which has never been done before of that level for a all-terrain vehicle, ATV. So we have to come up very quickly with a solution for added protection, but at the same time, added protection means added weight, So added weight means you degrade the performance and the mobility of the vehicle. Now, how do you find a way to balance, between protection as well as mobility, right? The second thing we have to solve really is how do we have a vehicle that can operate in both extreme weather as well as that kind of dusty terrain, right? Besides, of course, the mountainous, the valleys, and also, as I say, very, very difficult off-road terrain, right? Of course, I think the third thing that we have to assure them is delivery. This is an urgent operation requirement, Felix, Reading the papers, you find that the British soldiers are having casualties at a rate that is quite alarming. In fact, I was told that the rate of casualties is, if you convert it, is much more than what they suffered in World War II. So they have a very urgent need to equip the forces with this vehicle. And is STK capable of meeting the delivery schedule, right? Which is very, 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 very quick, right? So these are the few things that were there, and we were very responsive in providing them answers. So that's the second point. The third reason why I think they consider us somebody they can do business with is STK demonstrated to them that we are prepared to take some risks within the company. Let me explain this. For example, for protection, STK was prepared to build 2 empty hulls at our own cost, ship this to UK, and allowed them to blow up the 2 hulls, right, to demonstrate that our solution that we have come up with indeed can meet what we profess it to do. So that is all done at our own cost, and also solutions are all with STK. We did all this, without hassle. Professionally, we just did it, we built it, we sent it to UK, and their specialists in protection just took it and just blew it up and have a look, And that was one of the reasons why they decided that the solution we offered for protection is indeed something that will meet their needs. So I guess if you ask me what a customer will look for in a supplier vendor, right? These are some of the qualities that we have demonstrated, that we are willing to go the extra mile, and also that we are very confident of our own ability to meet the requirement.
Now let's see what's so hot about the Bronco.
What you see here is what we call the Bronco vehicle. it is an articulated vehicle in the sense it's two separate cabins that is connected. Now, what it meant is, if you know what is a four-wheel drive vehicle, that means when you engage a four-wheel drive, all four wheels are driven. And why all four wheels are driven? Because that will give you more power and more ability to climb and do all kinds of things. Similarly here, if you look at it, it's a 4 tracks. So the articulated vehicle here, what it does is, we can drive all 4 tracks together. And when you drive all 4 tracks, you will be able to generate, right, that kind of power to move forward, to overcome obstacles in a very different way. This joint, if you look at it, has an articulator which will able to allow us to control the pitch. I mean, I can change the pitch of the front and back vehicle. And there are many hoses, if you can see, which will allow hydraulics, right, to be used, right, to control. So this itself is where the difference between an all-terrain vehicle and a normal single platform, right? You may think that it's very difficult. You look at this whole mess of thing. But in fact, when you drive it and when you operate it, you find that the vehicle turns, the vehicle climbs, and vehicle run on the road much better than a single platform. All right, now, let me just again come back here and just tell you that this vehicle, if you look at it, weighs 11 tons. These two vehicles weighs 11 tons empty, right? Just the vehicle weight. What we do is then we allow the user or the customer, right, to be able to put in up to 5 tons of payload. Now, payload means the people, the weight of people, right? So here you can carry 10 troops in the back, 6 in front, making it 16. Secondly, you put in your other equipment that you need to operate. And of course, very important for armor vehicle. This is armor, by the way. The protection of this is against small arms, right? So direct small arms cannot penetrate. But if they want to protect against a higher level of threat like RPGs and all that, then we have to allow them to mount on what we call additional armor. And additional armor are weight, right? So payload cater for people, armor, equipment, and other equipment they need to operate like communication sets and so forth, right? So that will then allow this vehicle to fight at 16 tons. For the British Afghanistan vehicle, we are in fact going beyond 16 tons. Right? I won't tell you exactly because it's not able to tell you, but they are going to operate this beyond 16 tons, which means I have to upgrade what you see as we call the running gear. And this track we are using here is rubber tracks. If you look at rubber tracks, it's very wide. It's wider than normal. Now, these wide rubber tracks, plus the fact that the ground pressure of the whole Bronco will be spread not just over one vehicle, but the whole length of 2 cabins, will give us what you call a very low ground pressure. And this low ground pressure, in fact, if you ask me, is less than what I as a man stand. All right? We have people going to the swamp, and the guy sunk, all the way to his knee, but the Bronco was still level. So you can see how light the Bronco is. And that is very important for mobility. That means you can go through very, very soft ground, snow and all that, right? So this is a very unique part of the all-terrain vehicle. Besides, as I said just now, the 4-track drive that will give it that thing. Now, if you look at it, again, all these are protected, right, the hull. And this vehicle is not only able to perform well on land, but it can go into the water and what we call swim. It's not going to swim like a speedboat, but it can swim across waterways, lakes, right, and all that. Therefore, giving this really what we call all-terrain. What you see here is a troop carrier. That means it carries troops because you look at the cabin, it's all armor to protect the troops. But there are many, many different variants of this vehicle that we have come up with. Variants like ambulance, right? This is carrying casualties. We also have a command post, which means carry a lot of communication sets. We also have a recovery. That means in the field, if you need to recover other vehicles, change engines, you have a recovery. And of course, you know that our famous mortar, 120mm mortar, is also mounted on a version of this vehicle. Right? Now, the back here, if it's not a troop carrier, what we do is sometimes we mount what we call a flat bed. It's just a flat platform. And what is put on top are different mission modules if you want to change your modules. Like, for example, I can make it a fuel tanker. Just put a fuel tanker on it, it becomes fuel tanker. What you see here is the cabin that will carry 10 soldiers. Now, each of the soldiers will sit on seats like this. Alright? It's a seat very well done. That means just sit on it, put the seat belts on, and it's done. You notice that the seats have no anchor on the ground. It's all hung on the side wall. Part of the reason is for mine protection. If you have seat that is in contact with the floorboard, when the mine goes off, you get a transfer of vibration and shock that can go up. And if you're sitting on it, you will be subjected to injuries, right? That is caused. So as a result, when we do this, we don't mount seats on the floor, right? Now, this space here you see sits 10 person very comfortable, even let's say British soldiers size. And because of this, we can use this space to configure into many different things. Ambulances carrying stretchers, tables, computers for command and control purposes. The vehicle is built such that you can drive it, operate like a normal truck, right? The driver control, if you look, it's just a wheel, and the seats and the gear are normal. So to operate this vehicle is really a very simple thing to do, and therefore I do not need to spend a lot of time training people.
Remarkable, offensive yet defensive war machine, which the British Army has bought into. But what else can be gained from the mega UK deal?
The British, if you all read a lot of articles that publish, I think is a kind of consider a leader in this kind of operation in Afghanistan. You know, they've done well. They've stabilized the area of responsibility they're given, right? And many other countries have followed them. For example, if you look at it, the Netherlands have followed the British in buying the Viking because they are also deployed to Afghanistan. And I've also been told that a few other countries are looking at the British to learn the experience of how they operate in Afghanistan. You know, even the US Marine Corps, right, have been looking at. So on that score, with this sort of break into the British market, we would like to hope that other countries that are involved in the same kind of operations with Britain in Afghanistan, right, would look at the Bronco, right, and we are indeed we're prepared, and indeed we'll be happy to help them customize the Bronco according to what their own needs are. So there is already, I think, potential in looking at that.
Singapore products don't just target the battlefield. They try to conquer your taste in shoes as well as your taste buds. Stay with us on this Point Blank special.